Welcome in to Texans Today, everybody. I'm your host, Jeremy Chuggs. Coming up on today's live show, keys to victory in, I can't even believe I'm saying this, the biggest game on the Texans schedule this year, up against the Tennessee Titans in Week 4. This is a must-win. A loser leaves town, so I'll break down everything you need to know around the Tennessee Titans. And actually, now that I'm thinking of it, I might just send you that photo to put in that video about. We did just get some interesting news. Cam Ward on the Titans injury report today. Cam Ward on the Titans injury report. So I'll send you that photo link, Jack, so we could get that in there. But we'll be talking about that in today's show. I just put out a video as well on the channel revolving around CJ Gardner-Johnson, what we found out so far about why the Texans released him, and kind of some inside info on everything that led up to the shocking release of the Texans starting safety. Also, we'll talk about the latest Texans rumors going around. A former Texans quarterback says he thinks the Texans are still going to win the division. Bleacher Report also has an interesting trade idea, and we talk about some reaction to the CJ Gardner-Johnson release. And as always, we're doing a mailbag on today's show. So if you want to let your voice be heard, if you have something to say around the Texans, around the release of CJ Gardner-Johnson, anything around the NFL, hashtag Texans. So producer Jack can put it up on screen. Or if you super chat, as always, you will 100% be able to get your comment up on the screen around anything around the Texans or around the NFL. Also, special surprise on today's show. We got producer Jack in the building, our MLB lead here at Chat Sports, so he can talk about the demise of our Houston Astros as well. So we can talk about everything around Houston on today's show. As a reminder, Week 4 matchup at NRG Stadium, September 28th. That's this Sunday, 12 p.m. Central Time, noon. Kickoff will be live an hour before that, so be here and get ready. And folks, I want to know, scale it 1 to 100, your confidence level in the Texans getting a win on Sunday. It's 100 for me. I can't live into a world where the Texans go 0-4 this season. It's 100 for me, my confidence level for the Texans to win on Sunday. I need it. I absolutely need it. It's a must-win game. It's a loser leaves town. Scale it 1 to 100. Charles agrees with me. He's saying 100. Marcus is only giving it a 20. I don't blame you, Marcus. I don't blame you. Rob the Slob. Great name. Rob the Slob, 10%. Spiritual Galaxy gives it a 65%. Jeremy, even though we spell our names differently, great minds think alike. He's saying 100. Gerald says 12. Sailor Katori says 30. Zach says 73. Ron Raspberry, a mod here, a legend at Chat Sports, is saying 70%. Grenader Bolio, or Boy says 40%. Gamma Garcia says 30. JBJ says 100. James Moreno, 50 and 50. Thomas King, we need the win. We need it bad. We need the win very, very bad. Like we need oxygen. Legend is easy, too kind. Hey, Ron, you are a legend here. And a reminder, Ron, you can maybe show them how it's done. Use hashtag Texans Super Chat to get on today's show. We will have a mailbag later, so I need y'all's questions in there for me. Hashtag Texans to get up on the show. And I believe I saw you flash that photo. I didn't talk about it for a second. Yes, here we go. Here is the injury report that was just released today for the Texans at practice. Derek Stingley did not practice yet, still with that oblique. Tyjae Howard was sick today, so hopefully he'll be back tomorrow. But those were the two major ones for the Texans. But some big ones here for the Titans coming into this week. Their backup running back, Khalil Mullings, he did not practice today with an ankle. Then J.C. Latham, their starting tackle, did not practice today. He was out in Week 3. And then Cam Ward, the starting quarterback, ankle and calf was limited. Very interesting there. We'll have to see how that progresses throughout the week, because if he's not able to go, we got to remember the Titans backup, Will Levis, he got injured before the season. He's out for the year. So if he's not able to go, checks notes, it will be Brandon Allen. Brandon Allen will be the next man up. I mean, he's been around. He's been around a lot of places. Brandon Allen has. That's who we'll be playing if Cam Ward's not good to go. I hope, honestly, Cam Ward's good to go. I want to see this Texans defense up against Cam Ward. I want to see the Titans, future their franchise quarterback in Cam Ward. I'd like to see him play. So, Charles Tom, is Derek Stingley going to play? Hashtag Texans, you can put that in there. Ask that question. It's an oblique injury. So, day-to-day for Derek Stingley. He didn't play for the better 3 quarters of the Texans versus Jags Week 3 matchup. We'll have to see. Also, hashtag Texans Super Chat to get on the show. But a little double dose for you. If you do Super Chat, we still are running our month-long raffle for the autographed Nico Collins picture. And speaking of Nico Collins, Titans corner L'Jarius Snead today was absolutely disrespecting our boy Nico. He was asked by the Titans media. They said, how are you going to be able to guard Nico Collins? He said, who's that? Who is that? You're going to know who Nico Collins is. You're going to know. If you want a chance to win this bad boy, JSA Certified Fanatics signed Nico Collins picture. Don't worry. There's some plastic around it so my grimy little fingers aren't getting all over the picture. We're running this all month long. We're going to actually give this away on our live show this Sunday. So if you want a chance to win this, every $5 you spend is another raffle ticket for a chance to win the autographed Nico Collins picture. So if you want a chance at that bad boy, go ahead. Montego said trade Nico. Oh, get out of here. Get out of here. We're not trading Nico Collins. He's on an amazing Even if you don't think he's a top 5 receiver, he's getting paid $24 million a year, which is outside the top 15 of receivers. Y'all wild. Y'all wild. Go down and predict the score for me, though. Texans versus Titans. Oh, also, last part of it. Helmet mailbag. If somebody sends in a $100 super chat on today's show, I'll do the entire mailbag with my Texans helmet on. So, y'all want to get a little wild? I was like, we've had too much sadness these first 3 weeks. We need some fun. So, if somebody sends in 100, I'll do my entire mailbag show with this helmet on. So, we'll see how that goes. We'll see how that goes. I see a couple people using the hashtag Texans, like Marcus Minner, Ron Rasmussen. We'll get y'all on the show for our mailbag. But go down and predict the score for me. Texans versus Titans. Who do you think is going to win this matchup? Predict the score. I'm going to say the Texans finally break the 20 mark. I'll go Texans 27, Titans 10. Texans 27, Titans 10. I say we finally break through on offense, get some touchdowns in this game. Rob the slob. I don't even send my baby mama $100. You're wild, bro. You are absolutely wild. Malik the Rapper says Texans win 13-3. Honestly, a win's a win, but if they won 13-3, I would still be a little upset. I'd still be a little upset because I want the Texans to score some touchdowns. Like, is that too much to ask? Joe's Fresh says 14-10 Texans. Rob the Slob saying 69-0. Nice. Yoda Jenkins saying 34-17 for the good guys. Shout out to you, my guy Yoda. Thomas King says 21-14 Texans get the dub. JBJ says 24-13 Texans win. Paisano 777, if we win 3-0, I'll be happy. Got a tough couple games after this Titans game. I actually think we have the List 5 logo of the next 5 weeks for this Texans team. If we could throw that up real quick, Mr. Producer Jack. Yeah, the Texans, they need to string together some wins. It's not going to be easy, though. After the Titans game, they have maybe their toughest game of the entire season. And it couldn't have come at a worse time. They will be playing at Baltimore in Week 5. So we can't overlook Week 4. You got to win this one. But after that, man, you got the Ravens, you have your bye week, and then you have Monday Night Football in Seattle. and then you play the 49ers at home. It's dude, it's not easy schedule. Jacob Dominguez, I like that question. Hashtag Texans. Make sure you're using a hashtag Texans in the comment section so we can get you up on screen. So basically, you just put hashtag Texans at the front of your comment. Put whatever you're going to talk about, and yeah, we'll be able to get you on screen. We got over 100 people, only 21 likes. My producer Jack says we're not starting the show until we get to 40 likes. He's mad back there. He's serious. He said we will turn this car around, mister, if we don't get to 40 likes. So if you could, go down and hit that thumbs up icon, like the video so we can get this show rocking and rolling on today's program. Shout out to each and every single one of y'all who's clicked into today's show. Thank you so much for joining us here at Texans Today. Texans content every single day. We got you covered with the latest Texans news and rumors. Make sure you just wipe them feet. Hey, we have super chat deals. We have this, that, and the other. But at the end of the day, this is free content here on YouTube. All I ask, you have a good time, you like the video, and get active in the comment section so we can all voice our opinion. We can all tell each other what we're thinking about this team, and it makes it more fun. It makes it more active here in the chat. It makes the whole live show go by a lot smoother. So if you could, make sure you hit that subscribe button, like the video, and get those comments rocking and rolling. As I see a couple people already getting their hashtag Texans in. Thank you so much. That'll be important because we have a mailbag coming up. Our third show on today's program is going to be the mailbag. We first have the keys to victory and the latest Texans rumors on today's show. So as soon as producer Jack gives me the thumbs up, we'll be ready to go for this first segment, keys to victory up against the Tennessee Titans. Looks like he's ready. I'm ready. If you're ready for the first segment, spam those H's down in the comments section as we are going to discuss how the Texans can turn this season around starting in week 4 up against the Tennessee Titans. Welcome into today's show. I am your host, Jeremy Chuggs, and coming up, we have the keys to victory, key injuries to watch, and everything you need to know about Texans versus Titans. A, basement cellar of a game in the AFC South. Both teams 0-3. Both teams, basically, season will be wrapped up shut with a loss here. I don't believe there's ever been a team that's gone 0-4 to then make the playoffs. The last team to go 0-3 and make the playoffs was the Houston Texans in 2018. Prior to that, you got to go all the way back to 1998 with the Buffalo Bills. So a major, major game here on tap for us in week 4. And if you're going to be joining me on Sunday, we'll be live an hour before kickoff, 11 a.m. Central Time. Spam those H's if you're going to join me here on Sunday as the Texans fight for their life in week 4. I can't believe I'm saying that, fighting for their life in week 4 up against the Tennessee Titans. Now, before we get going with the keys to victory, a couple, notes with the Tennessee Titans because they've been kind of active this week. We all know CJ Gardner-Johnson with the Texans. Titans have made some interesting moves as well. First off, they traded Jarvis Brownlee Jr., one of their starting corners, to the New York Jets in exchange for a late-round pick swap. He was somebody who played a lot of snaps for the Tennessee Titans, a 5th-round pick last year who looked like he was doing pretty good. So a very kind of head-scratching move from the outside looking in as somebody who's just kind of looking at what the Titans are doing. I was like, I don't see how this makes the Titans any better. Maybe they're just totally selling on the season already, but they already made a move this week right here. Also to be known, the injury report is out for the Titans in week 4. Very important at the very top. J.C. Latham, their starting tackle, was out in week 3, did not practice on Wednesday here going into week 4. So that's going to be a big one. And as you scroll on down, you kind of look, Cam Ward also is on the injury report. The Titans starting quarterback. He was limited, so that means he still was out there, but he has an ankle and calf injury. That is to be monitored this week. I do hope that we play Cam Ward. I want to see how the Texans fare up against the Titans rookie, but that will be a big one because if Cam Ward's not good to go, we got to remember Will Levis is out for the year. That means Brandon Allen will be the starting quarterback for the Titans if Ward is not good to go. All right, let's look at the keys to victory for your Houston Texans. Number one, establish the ground game. The Titans have not been good against the run this year, allowing 5.3 yards per carry this season, and they've given up a 40-yard run in each of their first 3 games. The Titans have struggled in stopping the run this year, and the Texans got to dominate on that because one of their best run stoppers is also going to be out in this week's matchup. T'Vondre Sweat, the former Texas defensive tackle, now placed on IR. He will not be playing in this week 4 matchup. So they have Jeffrey Simmons, but his running mate, T'Vondre Sweat, won't be there to stop runs on the inside. So that means this running back room needs to produce. Nick Chubb, Dameon Pierce. I want to see more Woody Marks, even though he's kind of buried there on the depth chart. I should probably move this around a little bit. I think Woody Marks should be the running back too. But this Texans running back room's got to dominate. We got to see Nick Chubb. We got to see more Woody Marks. We got to see a commitment to run the football. Last week, the Texans actually averaged a pretty good yardage mark on the ground. Over 4 yards a carry whenever they ran the ball up against the Jacksonville Jaguars. It's kind of, between penalties, not right situation, kind of went out of it. The Texans got to make sure they don't go away from the run, especially against the Titans, who throughout this season so far have already let up a ton of chunk run plays against their opponents. Number 2, you got to take some deep shots. This Texans offense, the lone touchdown last week came from it was a missed coverage, but at the same time, a deep bomb from C.J. Stroud to Nico Collins. You got to take those deep shots. Through the first 3 weeks of the season, the Tennessee Titans have allowed 6 receptions of 20-plus yards this year. So that means if I'm looking at this Texans offense, especially Nico Collins, who was disrespected by L'Jarius Snead in the media this week. The Titans media went up to L'Jarius Snead, their starting corner, and said, How do you feel about going up against Nico Collins? And he said, who? Who's that? He's not a real player. Okay. Point taken, L'Jarius Snead. If you're going to say that, I want our guy. I want our wide receiver 1 to show up and show out against you this week. I need Nico Collins to be the Nico Collins of pass that can dominate L'Jarius Snead. And he needs this guy to get him the football. C.J. Stroud, he needs to come out with more confidence. Maybe it's a home game up against the 0-3 Tennessee Titans that can finally turn things around for C.J. Stroud, who throughout this year, 64% completion percentage, not bad. Not even 600 yards, though, through 3 games. 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions to start the year for Stroud. Not very good from the Texans signal caller. Hopefully he can turn it around this week. And I have a quick question for y'all. Let's play a little prize picks in today's show. 217.5 passing yards against the Titans for C.J. Stroud. Do you think Stroud is going more, or do you think Stroud is going less? If you feel strongly either way, I implore you, go check out our sponsor of today's show. That is Prize Picks. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it is Prize Picks. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. Prize Picks, it's super simple. Just pick more or less on 2 to 6 players' stat projections. If you get your picks right, you could cash in and win up to 2,000 times your money. Now, for this weekend, this is the lineup that I've concocted. They're giving you a freebie, guys. You got to take advantage of these deals. Prize Picks, they have deals every single week. You just got to check on the app. This week, Jalen Hurts, 0.5 passing yards. I know he hasn't absolutely slung it through the air so far this season. I think he can get 1 passing yard. So, yes, I'm taking that in my lineup. C.J. Stroud, 16.5 rush yards. He's used his feet a lot better this season, so I'm going the more with C.J. Stroud. And then Tony Pollard, 64.5 rush yards. We'll get to Tony Pollard here in just a moment, but give me the less on him. You can use my picks, or you can make your own lineup with our friends over at Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best way to win real money this football season. Which players are going off? Which ones aren't? It's easy. I just showed you. You can make your picks in less than 60 seconds and turn your sports opinions into real money all season long on Prize Picks. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. All right, let's look at the defensive side of the football for the Houston Texans. Will Anderson, he's got to dominate. I talked about J.C. Latham. He's on the injury report, and if he doesn't play, I need Will Anderson Jr., the Terminator, to go off this week. So far, he's been the best player on the Houston Texans, bar none. His stats, 12 tackles, 5 tackles for loss, an NFL-leading 19 pressures, and 3 sacks in 3 games. Not bad if you ask me for Will Anderson Jr. And the Titans' pass protection has been shaky at best this year. They've allowed a pressure rate of 45.3% through 3 games this season. That is 3rd worst in the National Football League. So not only Will Anderson Jr., but if you can get a little bit of Danielle Hunter, maybe some pressure from the inside, or maybe Tim Settle, Foley Futakasi, Tommy Togai, any of those guys on the interior, that would help this defense tremendously, especially when you don't have one of your starting safeties who you released this week in C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Let's look at another key to victory. And I think even though they haven't been a real, screen-heavy team this year, with the Texans' pass rush and their emphasis on getting after Cam Ward, Brandon Allen, whoever plays for the Tennessee Titans this week, I think you have to be aware of the Titans trying to get you off guard with their screens. Tony Pollard, whenever he was a member of the Dallas Cowboys, was really good catching the ball out of the backfield in that screen game. He's the lead back there. Also, the backup running back for the Titans, Khalil Mullings, has been on the injury report this week, so expect a heavy load for Tony Pollard this week with the Tennessee Titans. So far this year, 54 carries, 197 yards, and 1 touchdown on the season. But look for them to maybe sneak him out of the backfield on a running back screen. Maybe even work a little bit, wide receiver screens with Calvin Ridley, a couple of their other guys, some quick passes, quick screens, get the ball out of the quarterback's hand, especially with how good the Texans pass rush can be against the shaky Titans offensive line. And my final key to victory, 4 quarters of swarm. 4 quarters of swarm. It seems like each and every single week, the Texans come out flat. They come out with no energy. They come out with, it's just like maybe on the first drive they score. Up against the Bucs, they scored on that first drive. After that, for like all the way through the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, it's just flat. I see no energy. I see no emotion. Swarm is supposed to be special work ethic and relentless mindset. I haven't seen relentless mindset for 4 quarters yet for our Houston Texans. So until they change that, until they play with their hair on fire, maybe the move of releasing C.J. Gardner-Johnson lights a fire under this entire team and says, hey, we got to show up, we got to show out and turn things around right now. Right now is the time. It's now or never. And week 4 up against the Tennessee Titans, that is the time to do it. Because if you don't win this game, we'll all be booking our vacations late January. I'm looking at Bahamas, maybe the Virgin Islands. I heard it's nice that time of year. I don't want to do that. I'd rather watch our Houston Texans make a miraculous turnaround and make the playoffs, but it all starts in week 4 up against the Tennessee Titans. All right, that's what I got for you on the keys to victory. Let me know, what is your biggest key to victory? Did I miss something? Is there something that I completely glossed over? Let me know down in the comments section. What's up, P-Ray? How are we doing, buddy? I see Ron Raspberry, KT Low King. We got Paisano, Thomas West, all in the chat. DQ, Jeff Whitehouse. Let me know, what's your biggest key to victory in this matchup? Jimmy Wynn says the O-line needs to improve 100%. Sailor Katori says just win. That's all I care about. Yeah, I mean, you got to get out of here with a win. Ron says, let's get them likes to 75. Yes, sir. JBJ, I like your comment, but you got to use hashtag Texans if you want to get it up on screen. I saw you use the hashtag. Use hashtag Texans if you want to get your question up on screen. Let me know the biggest key to victory that you have. Toffee El Cativo says, focus on the fundamentals. Yeah, too many stupid penalties, too many pre-snap, like, ticky-tacky penalties that the Texans have had. That's put them, same as last year, put them behind the sticks, and then they can't run the ball with Woody Marks or with Nick Chubb because you're at 1st and 15, 2nd and 15, 2nd and 20. and it's really hard to run the ball when you have 20 yards to gain in 2 downs. Marcus says the offensive play calling. I agree. Logan Grizel says thoughts on C.J. Stroud. I'm still a Stroud believer. Through thick and thin, I'll say this. Maybe Stroud wasn't as good as I thought he was at this point in time, but do I still think he has the potential to be a top 10 quarterback? I 100% do. I still think C.J. Stroud is good. I think we're getting a little bit of like the David Carr syndrome where he's getting hit so quickly and so often that it's messing up his fundamentals and messing up his reads. So if we can maybe figure something out to get the run game going, help Stroud in that to give him more play action, give him more time, that can maybe settle him in. And I think he just needs to get settled in a little bit. I think since the beginning of the season, he's been under duress, and that just with so many moving parts, he's supposed to be the constant. And he's still young. He's 23. He's in his 3rd year in the NFL. So I think he still needs to get his feet under him in this new offense. Nick Caley, also a first-time offensive play caller. You have, a rookie left tackle. There's so many new moving parts on this team. I mean, the only guys that CJ knows on the offense from last year, legitimately, coaching-wise, is, yes, a lot of the same coaches, like the quarterback coach, this, that, and the other, but the play caller, new. Offensive line, he only has one starting offensive lineman from last year, Nico Collins, and then Dalton Schultz, really. That's about it. Everybody else is brand new on this offense. So I agree with that. Austin Wicks, run the ball to open the pass. I 1,000% agree with you on that. I think you got to do that. I think you got to do that to help C.J. Stroud out just a little bit because especially on these 3rd and long downs, they're just getting after Stroud, and he barely has any time, especially whenever they're sending stunts up against this Texans deep offensive line because they are not being able to handle that very well. Jimmy Wynn says set up to play action. Agree with you. Quick reminder, if you want a chance to win this Nico Collins autograph picture, $5 super chat for a raffle ticket. We're doing our drawing for this on Sunday up against the Tennessee Titans. So if you want a chance to win this bad boy, we're giving it away this Sunday. It is JSA certified from Fanatics, so you know it's legit. Perfect in, your man cave, your desk at work, wherever. Want a chance to win this bad boy, $5 super chat if you want to get on that. And then I did say at the end of today's show, we're doing a mailbag where I'll answer all your questions. If somebody sends in 100, or if we get to $100 in total, I'll go ahead and wear the Texans lucky helmet for the entire mailbag. It's gonna get a little hot in there. Okay, but if we get there, a promise is a promise. I'll do it for the entire mailbag on today's program. All right, we're going to get into this next segment, which is the latest Texans rumors that have gone around. As I get a little sip really quick. All right, one former Texans quarterback says, hey, we should be pretty hopeful around this Texans team. I still think they can make the playoffs. So we'll see what he has to say. Also, Bleacher Report threw out a trade idea for the Houston Texans to possibly save the season. We'll break that down as well. And then some people around the NFL weigh in on CJ Gardner-Johnson. That'll be at the end of this next segment. So if you want to get going, make sure hit that like button, get in the comment section. Let's get into this next segment for your Houston Texans. Welcome into Texans Today, everybody. I'm your host, Jeremy Chuggs, and coming up on today's program, one former Texans quarterback gives this fan base hope. Is there still a chance that the Texans can repeat history? Back in 2018, they went 0-3, made the playoffs. Can they do the same thing this year? Also, Bleacher Report throws out a trade idea that could possibly save the Texans season. We'll see what they have in mind. And then people around the NFL weigh in on CJ Gardner-Johnson. What do some of his former teammates, maybe his former teams, have to say about CJGJ? We'll break all that down on today's show. But I want to hear from you folks at home. Maybe a little fun question. If the Texans make the playoffs, I will blank. If the Texans make the playoffs, I will blank. For me, I'll be so back. I'll be so back if the Texans make the playoffs this year. I mean, the amount of Jags and Colts fans that I have in my mentions talking the most crap to me over the past 2 weeks has been astronomical. The amount of Cowboys fans that have been in my mentions that have been talking the most crap has been out of this world. So if somehow the Texans were able to make the playoffs, you bet I would be going scorched earth. I would be going back on X, back on social media, and talking the most mess to all these people who wanted to kick us while we're down. So if the Texans do somehow make the playoffs, I'm going to clip this, and y'all better be ready because we are absolutely BTA messing with all those other fan bases if we somehow make the playoffs, come back, and if we win a playoff game, absolutely the cherry on top if that happens this season. All right, let's get into our first story on today's show where a former Texans quarterback gives the fan base some hope. Who am I talking about? None other than Mr. Fitzmagic himself. Ryan Fitzpatrick had this to say on the Texans' playoff hopes. I think the 0-3 Texans will still make the playoffs this year. Their offense can't get any worse. There's nowhere to go but up. Their defense is still elite. Nico Collins is heating up. I can't imagine that C.J. Stroud is not going to get this thing headed in the right direction. And honestly, when you look at it, the Texans are 3 plays away from being 3-0. As bad and as gloom and doom as we've all talked about over the past week, ever since the Texans lost to the Jacksonville Jaguars, it's still a little bit of a light at the end of the tunnel because when you look back, the Texans could easily be 3-0 right now. And I know a lot of you are rolling your eyes, but let's turn back the timetable real quick. Week 1, you were driving to win the game, and Daria Gumbawale fumbled the ball at the 18-yard line. You were the offense was clicking, and you were looking great. And you fumbled the ball and ended up losing that game. That's a game you could have won on the road. Week 2, Monday Night Football up against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You had the Bucs. You were winning this game, and you had the Bucs at 4th and 10. And Henry To'oTo'o was in this position to get a sack on 4th and 10. Didn't end up tackling Baker Mayfield. He ran it for a first down. If he gets that sack, the Texans easily could have won that game as well. And then tied 10-10 with 3:50 remaining, Nico Collins spinning into the red zone on his way to possibly get to the 15-yard line, set the Texans up for great field position to go on and possibly win that game. There's a fumble. So I know it's the devil's in the details, and I know it's like, okay, coulda, woulda, shoulda, but at the same time, as mad as we are around this team, as upset as we are with the Texans being at this point, we have to remember, they have played 3 teams, all with winning records, and they could have won each and every single one of those games. So, I do agree with Ryan Fitzpatrick. Out of all the 0-3 teams, the Texans, I think, maybe to repeat history, have the best chance to make the playoffs at the end of this season. Now, the next 5 weeks for this Houston Texans team, maybe a little bit more tumultuous after this Titans game. Because we have at the Baltimore Ravens, who you watched a Texans-Ravens game over the past 2 years. You know why I am kind of sulking a little bit, because the Ravens, to put things lightly, have owned the Texans over the past 2 seasons. I feel like every time we play the Ravens, Lamar Jackson absolutely puts on a masterclass. So in Week 5, that's going to be a major, major matchup. We can't look past Week 4, obviously. Texans have a bye week in Week 6. Then they play at Seattle on Monday Night Football, and then they host the San Francisco 49ers in Week 8. So it's going to be an uphill battle, but I still think the Texans have a slim chance, especially if they can win these 2 games. If they can beat the Titans, and then if they can pull out a win in Baltimore going into the bye week, I will be fully back. I will be a believer in this Texans squad. Now, let's turn to a little bit of a trade rumor. This coming from Bleacher Report. They had an article titled "One Trade That Would Jumpstart Winless Team Seasons." And they said the Texans should trade for Evan Neal. Does this make any sense? Does it make sense for the Texans to try and go trade for the Giants offensive lineman, a former first-round pick out of Alabama? I'll break that down in just a second. Coming up, my thoughts on their Evan Neal trade idea. But today's show is brought to you by our friends over at Prize Picks. I love them, and I know you will too. You and I make decisions every day But on PrizePicks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on PrizePicks, where it's good to be right. PrizePicks, they put their members first. So all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. PrizePicks offers Venmo, Apple Pay, MasterCard, and more for quick and easy deposits into your account this football season. And this is my lineup for this weekend. They're giving you a freebie with Jalen Hurts, 0.5 passing yards. CJ Stroud, I'm going the more on his rush yards, and I'm going the less on Tony Pollard's rush yards as well. And I know everybody is gloom and doom around football in Houston, but hey, they have every single sport. They have baseball. They have basketball. They have hockey, if that's what you're into. I know they have, tennis. They have every single sport over there that can make it that much more exciting. So, as I mentioned, PrizePicks is the best way to win money this football season. Which players are going off, which ones aren't? Make your picks in less than 60 seconds and turn your sports opinions into real money all season long. Go ahead and download the PrizePicks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. All right, here's the trade idea that Bleacher Report suggested that the Texans do to save their season. A 7th-round pick for Evan Neal. That's it. It's a very simple deal. You're not giving up a lot. You're giving up a 7th-round pick for a former 1st-round pick. So I do it. If that's all that it costs to get a former 1st-round pick, a former Alabama product, okay, I'm cool with that. Now, do I think that saves the Texans season? No, I honestly don't. Because Evan Neal, the one part of his game that has been lacking since he's joined the National Football League has been his pass blocking. His 2024 PFF grades, a 61.2 overall grade for Evan Neal. Pass blocking, you see it there, 49.6. Run blocking, good, 80.8. He had 2 sacks, 6 penalties last year on 459 snaps playing for the New York Giants. So, yes, he could help. He's bounced inside to be a guard for the Giants. He's a big guy, 6'7", 340. So maybe if you're thinking, like the Eagles maybe did with Mekhi Becton, where they got a big dude, brought him in, were able to revitalize his career, maybe they could do that with Evan Neal. I'd be okay with that. 9 games played, 2 sacks allowed, and especially if it costs a 7th-round pick for Evan Neal, yes, I would be okay with that. But let's see. If you were Nick Caserio, would you trade for Evan Neal? Give me a yes. Give me a no down in the comments section. What would you do if you were Nick Caserio and the Giants, ring, 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 called you up and said, Evan Neal for a 7th-round pick? Let me know down in the comments section what you would do. All right, last up on today's show, the NFL weighs in on CJ Gardner-Johnson. I have 3 different points of view to kind of go over. We've talked about CJ Gardner-Johnson here on the program. We've talked about the scandal within NRG between him and some other players, coaching staff. I made a video here on the channel. If you want to know more about that, go ahead, check out that video. It's our Texans insiders revealed around CJ Gardner-Johnson, so you can look at that. Also some more videos around him. But let's look at how the NFL world has reacted to CJ Gardner-Johnson. First, let's look at his former team, the Philadelphia Eagles, who traded him this offseason for Kenyon Green. Funny enough, both guys aren't on those respective teams anymore. So a rare lose-lose trade here in the NFL. But Nick Sirianni quickly shut down his return. He said, we're good with what we have. They like their rookie Andrew Makuba. Even though maybe they could even use some help in the secondary, the Eagles have kind of seemed like they're like, nope, we're good. We don't want them at all. We're all good. Now, one of his former teammates with the Philadelphia Eagles, Darius Slay, was on a podcast with Richard Sherman, and he had a little bit of different sentiment. He was like, it doesn't seem right. This doesn't sit right with me. He was a big advocate for CJ Gardner-Johnson, saying he's a great teammate, one of his favorite teammates that he's had so far in his NFL career. Darius Slay this year, not with the Eagles anymore. He's with the Pittsburgh Steelers. But he came out and kind of defended CJ Gardner-Johnson a little bit after that surprising news on Tuesday. And then from another former team, the New Orleans Saints, a reporter for them came out and said, the Saints were very happy to get him out of the building whenever they were able to, get him out of the building whenever he first started with the New Orleans Saints. Remember, he was there. He was the Malcolm Jenkins replacement for the New Orleans Saints. And then after a couple of seasons, it seemed like he kind of wore out his welcome in New Orleans and then went to the Philadelphia Eagles, where Malcolm Jenkins had been prior. So the reports around the league, kind of mixed bag, right? Around CJ Gardner-Johnson. DeMeco Ryans came out and talked to the media and said it was the best move for this Texans team, and the players shouldn't have been surprised. And then in a kind of retroactive kind of comment from CJ Stroud, he said a little bit of the opposite. He said, I love CJ Gardner-Johnson. He was a great teammate. I don't really know why he was released. Not a good look that your head coach and your starting quarterback are kind of on two different sides of the coin around a major move that's impacted this team only 3 games into the season. Maybe just a little bit of a disconnect. Maybe CJ Stroud is just trying to be, a teammate guy, trying to help out somebody who's no longer in the team, but he still doesn't have any hard feelings for. Either way, though, I really do think CJ Gardner-Johnson leaving this team, maybe it's the kickstart that they needed. Maybe it's what they needed to get this season back on the right track. We'll see if it works out, though. You can give me a follow on X at Jeremy Chuggs. My DMs are always open. I'm always able to answer anything or talk around our Houston Texans. Like I said, I'll be tweeting around them all throughout the season. And if you made it to the end of the video, make sure to hit that subscribe button for daily Texans content all year long. All right. Here we go. Going into our last segment on today's show. Zach said Stroud just didn't want to get on his bad side, so when he sees him again on the field, CJ doesn't absolutely decapitate him. I mean, either way, I think CJ Gardner-Johnson is a little bit of a shit talker, so I don't think he'll hold back at all. If he joins another team that plays the Texans, get ready for some fireworks, because there will 100% be some mouthing. I wouldn't be surprised if CJ Gardner-Johnson went to the Texans sidelines and had a couple things to say as well. I wouldn't also be surprised if CJ Gardner-Johnson goes on a podcast anytime soon and does his own side of the story as well. So we'll see what comes from all of that. We said, let's see. What are we saying? Alberto Serrato in the chat put Mills in against the Titans. I'm not for that, man. I still believe in CJ Stroud. I know a couple people are out. I get it. He hasn't. I'll go to the point of he hasn't played good this year. I'll say that. Yayo says, what happened to just benching players? I mean, the Panthers did that last year with Bryce Young, and it seems to maybe kickstarted him a little bit. I don't know, though. The thing is, Bryce Young had never played good. CJ Stroud had a really good rookie year. Last year, a little bit of a down year. But, like I said, there's just so much movement around here. And John Ryan, I get you're upset about that. A lot of people are upset that Stroud shows up to games in opposing teams' MLB caps. He wears a lot of baseball hats from other teams. He wore a Mariners cap a couple weeks ago. He wore a Yankees cap as well. So I get your frustration with that. CJ Stroud, he's worn Astros caps before too. I don't think he's at any point a baseball fan. I think it's more of a fashion thing for him, especially if he's wearing tons of different baseball caps. I think it's just like he thinks it's cool. Like I would doubt if CJ Stroud knew anything around what the MLB playoffs situation looked like right now. If he could name one division winner or one team that's clinched so far in the baseball playoffs, I would be shocked. So I wouldn't put too much to him wearing a Yankees hat because I think it's just he owns a lot of baseball hats. So I would just say that. Stroud will get right. Don't worry, guys. I agree. I believe in CJ Stroud. I think he'll be able to turn it around this year. But, hey, if you want your voice to be heard, if you think that the Texans should start Davis Mills, if you think the Texans should do this, that, or the other, use hashtag Texans or Super Chat to get on the show. We're going to do our mailbag here in just a second. Producer Jack is getting all the comments ready right now. So if you want a chance to voice your opinion or be one of the people that's up here on our live show, use hashtag Texans or Super Chat to get on the show. I will say, if you Super Chat, extremely high chance, I would say almost 100% chance that you get on the program. And I have a deal for everybody here because y'all made it through the whole live show. I said $5 Super Chat for a raffle ticket to get in to the Nico Collins autographed picture. I'll do this. Because y'all made it through the whole live show, I appreciate everybody for clicking in, for spending some time here on Texans Today. I'll do this. Every $1 Super Chat that you spend from now to the end of the show, I'll give you a raffle ticket for the Nico Collins autograph picture because I know a lot of y'all still want a chance to win it. We're going to do the raffle on Sunday when the Texans face the Titans, but if you want a chance to win this bad boy, because y'all made it through the whole show, I appreciate y'all. If y'all send in a $1 Super Chat, that will get you a ticket. If you send in $2, that gets you 2 tickets. Every dollar you spend will give you another ticket for a chance to win this Nico Collins autograph picture. So if you want a chance to do that, I'll give y'all a deal. Thank y'all so much for making it to the end of today's live show. We have one more segment. Oh, Jimmy P-Ray, here we go. Great deal. Y'all gotta take advantage of that because this is probably one of the best deals I've given. But I appreciate y'all for making it all the way through our Texans live show today. So thank you so much. Jimmy and P-Ray, each of y'all, we're giving you, or Jimmy, make sure, put in a question with hashtag Texans so we can put you in the live show. Okay, that's cool too. Jimmy and P-Ray. Oh, P-Ray, that's a good question. We'll answer that on the mailbag. But Jimmy and P-Ray, each of y'all, I'm giving y'all both 5 tickets for our Nico Collins autograph pictures. So if you want a chance to win this bad boy, because y'all made it through the whole live show, every single dollar you spend is going to be 1 ticket for the Nico Collins autograph picture. If you want a chance to win that bad boy. Jimmy, Jimmy, if you want to put in a question, hashtag Texans. We'll try to get you up on screen. Thank you so much for sending in the $5 Super Chat. Alberto Serrato! My guy! Okay. I like that. All right. So, Alberto says he's feeling very nice today. So, Alberto, I'll still give you a ton of them as well. But he sent in a 20 and he said, I'm still supporting this team no matter what. Let's give some away. So, I like that idea. How about this? I'll give some away to people who are following me on Twitter. So, I'm going to check my Twitter right now. It's at Jeremy Chuggs. If you DM me Nico, you got to follow me first. If you're already following me, you're halfway there. If you want a chance for a free raffle ticket via my man Alberto Serrato, you can follow me. It's right here at Jeremy Chuggs. I'll put the link here in the comment section. All you got to do, DM me Nico. DM me Nico, and you'll get a free raffle ticket via Alberto Serrato because he's an absolute real one. I'll put the link to my Twitter down in the comment section. So all you got to do, like I said, is follow me on Twitter and then DM me Nico so I know that you're watching and know that you want that deal. Here, I'll put my Twitter right here. All right, my Twitter's in the chat. Thank you so much to Alberto Serrato. If you want that, I already see Adam got one. So my guy, Adam, a.k.a. Big A. I'm putting you in. My guy, Big A. Big underscore A underscore 0224. All right. So if you want a free raffle ticket for the Nico Collins autograph, all you got to do is DM me Nico at Jeremy Chuggs. Thank you to Alberto Serrato. Zach Rose with another great super chat. We'll get to that. That's 10 tickets for Zach Rose. We'll get to that super chat in this mailbag as well. But thank you to Alberto Serrato. If you want that free ticket, all you got to do is go follow me on Twitter and DM me Nico so I know you want a chance at that deal from Alberto Serrato. I got one from Adam already, so let's go. All right, let's get into this Texans mailbag. I'll keep my Twitter open until the end of today's show. If you want that chance to win, make sure to give me a follow on Twitter, X, whatever you like to call it. And, just DM me Nico so I know that you are in on that deal. All right, let's get into this Texans mailbag. You still have a chance to answer your question. Zach Rose, appreciate you so much. I'll answer this question and Pat's question at the beginning of today's show. So if you want a chance to get on, you can still use your hashtag Texans. You can super chat to get up on the program, and we'll break down all your questions here on Texans Today. We ready? Producer Jack. He's giving me a thumbs up. I'm actually going to get a quick sip of water. Shout out to my wife, her company that she works for, How Water, my favorite water. Absolutely delicious. All right, here we go. Enough dilly-dallying, enough lollygagging on my end. That's my bad. Let's get into today's Texans Today mailbag, the last segment here on our Texans Live show. Welcome into Texans Today, everybody. I'm your host, Jeremy Chuggs, and this show is from our live Wednesday show. We go live every Wednesday at 3:30 Central Time here on September 24th. That's when I'm filming this live show. This is all questions from our live audience. And if you're watching this live, hashtag Texans or Super Chat to get on the show. All of the questions, as I mentioned, from our loyal subscribers here at Texans Today, leading into the most pivotal game of the Texans season. Week 4 matchup up against the Tennessee Titans. They are coming down to NRG. Both teams are 0-3, a must-win game for your Houston Texans. I'll be live for this game, so don't miss out. We'll be live an hour before kickoff. And a reminder, we're giving away this Nico Collins autograph picture on Sunday, so if you want a chance to win that, be there or be square. Let's get into the questions from our live audience. P. Ray, I want Mike McCarthy as my OC. He was a QB coach, an OC, and a Super Bowl head coach. W. Chuggs. P. Ray, thank you so much. I will say, I don't see the Texans at this point in the year getting a new OC. If they do anything with the play calling duties, my guess is that it would be current QB coach Gardner-Johnson, maybe wide receiver coach Ben McDaniels, who's actually the brother of Patriots OC Josh McDaniels. I think it would be a guy from within, because they're not going to hire a Mike McCarthy, somebody else. They might hire one of those guys as like an offensive consultant, but for them to come in and install their offense, install all the nuances, that's why you have training camp and the stuff before the season to implement all that stuff. It would be way too difficult, I believe, for C.J. Stroud, this offense. They don't even know the Nick Caley system all that well, to then turn around and say, hey, we're going to scrap all that. We're going to have a new OC with a new scheme and everything. I just don't think that's possible. Maybe this offseason the Texans look into other options like a Mike McCarthy, like a Mike McDaniel. If he is let go by the Miami Dolphins, he has ties with the Houston Texans as well. I think that's more likely, or they bring in an offensive consultant like a Mike McCarthy where he comes in and just kind of gives his advice, gives his thoughts around this Texans offense to current OC Nick Caley. But a total OC regime change, I don't see that happening midway through the season. That's something that's going to happen probably this offseason. Thank you for the question, though, P. Ray. Zach Rose, do you think Woody at RB1 will make this running game better? I think he has better vision and playmaking qualities versus Chubb relying on a wide-open lane. I agree with you, Zach. I 100% agree with you. I want the Texans to free Woody this week. He has been awesome. Against the Bucs, he had a 35-yard catch. He had a couple runs. He was averaging 5 yards a carry. And then they just stopped playing him. He only got like 3 runs against the Bucs. Last week, up against the Jacksonville Jaguars, kind of the same situation. He was averaging like almost 5 yards a carry, but he had a limited workload. He only had 5 or 6 carries up against the Jags in week 3. So I would love to see Woody Marks out there. I don't want to see Dario Gumbawale. He's okay. He's a special teams guy. He can be in certain situations. But Woody Marks has shown that he can block. Woody Marks has shown that he can catch the ball out of the backfield and that he can run with great vision. So let's see the rookie that we traded up for. We moved up in round 4 to get him instead of getting an offensive lineman where there was still some decent guys to get there. If you neglected on an O-lineman to go up and get a Woody Marks, kind of the same with the wide receiver situation we have with Jaden Higgins and Jalen Knoll. If you're going to not take an offensive lineman and take a receiver, take a running back, use them. Why not? Right? Why not use the guys that you drafted high up in the draft? That's usually what you do to get your team better. So I want to see the Texans 100% use more Woody Marks this year. Thank you for the question, Zach Rose. This coming in from Cursed Labubu. Hashtag Texans. Should the Texans trade? No. I'm not even going to finish that sentence. Somebody asked me this. Somebody asked me this online. I'm sorry. You're maybe asking the wrong person because I'm not a Shedeur Sanders guy. I think he's an average QB. I think he's okay, but I don't think he's a starter in the NFL right now. I truly don't. Yeah, no way. No, let's get this off the screen. Get it off the screen. Let me know though. Of course, producer Jack goes to this question afterwards. Do you still trust CJ Stroud as the franchise quarterback? I still do. I still trust him as the franchise quarterback. Let me know down in the comment section, yes or no. Do you still believe in CJ Stroud? I want to hear from you down below. Let me know your honest thoughts down below in the comment section. As I mentioned, yes, I still believe in CJ Stroud. And when you look at all the people that are out on him already, I mean, I think a lot of teams would still be lucky or be willing to take a chance on Stroud. And why not us? A team like the Houston Texans that is still young. We forget, C.J. Stroud's still 23 years old. Maybe he's not a top 5 quarterback right now at this point in his career, but some guys take a little bit more time. And he's shown us the flashes. He's shown us the potential of how good he can be. We just got to still be behind him and not just jump ship every time he has a bad game or every time he struggles a little bit. That's not going to help him out. I still believe in C.J. Stroud, and I still want him to be our franchise guy. Coming in from Gunner, another super chat here on the show. Gunner also got 5 tickets for our Nico Collins autographed picture. We gave a special deal on our live show. That's why you got to show up here on Wednesdays. Special deals giving this away on Sunday again. Gunner, why not trade and get something? Why not trade and get something for C.J. Gardner-Johnson? Woody needs a shot at RB2. We talked about him possibly being the RB1. Is there a free agent offensive lineman available? Okay. First, let's do it in the steps. All right. First, why not trade and get something for C.J. Gardner-Johnson? I think they wanted it a clean cut, and they were like, you know what? I don't want the Saga to take over this team, especially in a pivotal Week 4 game that you have to win. I think they were like, you know what? For everything that it's worth, if we want to turn around the season, it's better for us to clean cut it right here rather than have all the rumors out there, the C.J. Gardner-Johnson trade rumors, that be taking over the locker room, that being taken over the conversation. Yes, obviously, you had that with cutting C.J. Gardner-Johnson, but they got it done at the beginning of the week. It's 24 hours has passed, and then by the time Friday, Saturday, Sunday is going to be here, hopefully that'll be out of the limelight. But if you were to trade him, if there were supposed to be trade rumors and this, that, and the other between the Texans and other teams, I think that would carry over into this week into a must-win game. So I think DeMeco Ryans said, hey, I'm a good enough defensive coach. I know what we can do to still win this game. We don't need C.J. Gardner-Johnson. If that's the case, if he truly felt like that, it was probably better to just cut ties and not have the distraction going into a must-win, loser leaves town kind of game that the Texans have here in Week 4. I think that's why they did that. Woody Johnson, we talked about that. I think he deserves his shot, the rookie out of USC. And is there a free agent offensive lineman available? Short answer, no. I probably not what you want to hear, but there is a serious offensive line shortage in the NFL. Every single team in the NFL needs an offensive lineman. Every single team. I work with 30 other guys here at Chat Sports. And every single one of them at some point in the week says, does anybody have an offensive lineman that's good that you'd want to trade? Does anybody know of a good offensive lineman that we can add? There's not enough to go around. There's just not enough. Every single team needs offensive linemen. Free agent-wise, I don't really see any free agent that could come in and start for the Texans at this point. Like, maybe Jedrick Wills, but he was injured for the Browns last year. I really don't see any free agent coming in and really actually making an impact for this Texans team at this point in the season. Good question, though, Gunner. Jose Rangel, is Joe Mixon on vacation? Dude, it is Fort Knox right now at NRG when it comes to anything revolving around Joe Mixon. It is a touchy subject to say the least. Anytime I mention to any of the people that I talk to around the organization, anybody that I talk to that covers this Texans team, if I say the magic words Joe Mixon, you think I just said Baltimore. Because everybody is like, shh. It is like, we don't talk about Joe Mixon. No. We don't talk about Mixon. They don't want to do it. They don't want to talk about Joe Mixon. It has been mum's the word, and it's making me nervous because it's making me think he's going to miss the season. Week 5, he can return. Will we hear anything about Mixon then? Maybe not. I think it's going to be kind of like we dealt with Christian Harris last year, where we just don't hear anything until maybe he comes back. Maybe he doesn't. But we'll see what happens on the Joe Mixon front. More questions coming up in just a moment. But I couldn't do today's show if it wasn't for our amazing sponsor, Prize Picks. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every single day. But on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. Prize Picks is the best way to get action on any sport in more than 40 states, including California, Texas, Florida, and Georgia. And they have a great deal for you on tap this week. Jalen Hurts, 0.5 passing yards. It's a gimme. It's a freebie. You got to take these when you're on the Prize Picks app, because that can win you some cold, hard cash. I paired that with C.J. Stroud, more on his 16.5 rushing yards, and Tony Pollard, less on his 64.5 rushing yards. You see how easy that was? I can turn my sports opinions into cold, hard cash, and it took less than 60 seconds. So get started today with Prize Picks, because they put their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. Prize Picks offers Venmo, Apple Pay, MasterCard, and more for quick and easy deposits into your account this football season. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. All right, this coming in from your fearless leader, #Texans. Nico Collins was doing so good before that fumble against the Jags game. I agree. I thought Nico was doing great. He had the long 50-yard touchdown that, gave the Texans offense some light. I mean, even the play where he fumbled, it was a great route by Nico Collins. He sat down right there in the zone. He honestly did everything that you teach your wide receiver to do. He sat in the zone. He felt somebody coming that way. He did a spin move this way. Just unlucky. He didn't keep it high and tight. And unluckily for the Texans, the Jags defender was able to just punch it out. But, this is actually supposed to be against the Titans for this one, Jack. I did look before, because with our great sponsor, Prize Picks, obviously. Nico Collins, his projection this Sunday, 75.5 receiving yards. L'Jarius Snead was calling him out this week. What do we think, Texans fans? More or less than 75.5 receiving yards for Nico Collins? I believe Nico Collins is a wide receiver 1. I believe L'Jarius Snead is absolutely disrespecting the Texans wide receiver 1. So give me the more on this for Nico Collins. Let me know what you think down below in the comments section. More or less for Nico Collins, 75.5 receiving yards this weekend. All right, let's go to another question from Gabriel Garcia. Tyreek could bring so much comfort for C.J. Stroud in the passing game, because Nico and Tyreek would be a problem for any defense. Even our running game would be outrageous. You know what? I would agree with you, Gabriel. I love the idea of Tyreek and Nico 1-1, but the problem is, I mentioned it earlier, you drafted 2 wide receivers in the early rounds. I want to see what they can do. I honestly thought, if you look at the end of the game, do we all remember the Christian Kirk seam route that almost got picked at the end of the game? Next to him was Jaden Higgins, who beat his man on the outside. I want to see those guys get some more opportunities. I think Jaden Higgins is a really good receiver. I think Jalen Noel is a really good receiver. So before we go out there and get help in the receiving department, can we at least try to use our rookies? Can we at least see what those guys have? Because if we don't use them all year, I'm going to be absolutely pissed that we didn't go out and get a offensive lineman, because every week that I watch the Detroit Lions, I see Tate Ratledge, their right guard. And the Texans had an opportunity to take him. Could you imagine if they got a good right guard on this team instead of a wide receiver that they don't use? Not saying Jaden Higgins was a bad pick or he's a bust in any way, but they're not using him. They could have easily used an offensive lineman, and they decided not to. So I don't want to go out and get another wide receiver because, as I mentioned, we already have wide receivers on our roster. Let's just use them. Ron Raspberry coming in. Who will replace Gardner-Johnson, and do you believe chemistry will be better? Well, I'll say this. If losing Gardner-Johnson means Kalen Bullock and Kamari Lassiter turn back into their rookie versions of themselves, yes, that will be so much better. That'll be worth it if we get the Kalen Bullock from last year, the Kamari Lassiter from last year, because there were too many lapses in coverage, and those two guys have not played good. CJ Gardner-Johnson allowed the third worst completion percentage when targeted on this Texans defense so far this year. You know who number 2 and number 1 were? Kamari Lassiter and Kalen Bullock. Now, going into who will replace Gardner-Johnson, it'll be a mix of guys. MJ Stewart was on the team last year. He will take these starting reps in week 4 up against the Tennessee Titans. Then past that, they have a couple guys on the practice squad. They have Miles Bryant. They have Jimmy Ward that'll be coming back from injury. He's going to be, and being from the NFL Commissioner Exempt list, he got taken off that, so that's another guy that'll be coming back. Jalen Reed, who the Texans drafted in round 6 out of Penn State, he's coming back from injury. So there's a host of guys that are coming back into this secondary. Will they replace how good Gardner-Johnson is? That is yet to be seen. This coming in from not Nick Casario. Good try, Nick. You're not fooling me. Hashtag Texans. Why will the Texans not use any of their rookies? This is the golden answer. Why? Why will they not use any of their rookies? Jaden Higgins, Jalen Noel, Woody Marks. Let's use them. Let's please use them. I'm begging you, DeMeco, Nick Caley. Can we please use our rookies on offense? Jaden Higgins, he's looked great in the preseason, in practice. I mean, he looks the part. Can we please get him some targets? Jalen Noel, he's been electric in the return game. Can we get him some more looks? I mean, that's why we drafted him, right? To take some pressure off of Nico Collins. So please, can we use those guys? Woody Marks, he's averaging more than 4 yards a carry throughout the season. Can we use him, please? I'm asking. I want to see our rookies ball out, and hopefully we see them do just that this Sunday up against the Tennessee Titans. Both teams 0-3. This is a loser leave town game, so the Texans must win this matchup. We'll be live an hour before kickoff, 11 a.m. Central Time, as we root on our Houston Texans. Quick reminder, we're doing this giveaway on Sunday. Nico Collins autograph picture. So if you want a chance to win that bad boy, make sure you pull up Sunday for our watch party up against the Tennessee Titans. And we're clear. All right. That's all we got, folks. That's all she wrote. Gunner, I'm giving you your raffle tickets right now. Zach Rose got yours. There we go. Gunner, shout out to you. Shout out to Zach Rose. If you want last chance, is Nico Collins injured? Nico Collins is going to play this weekend. Nico Collins is going to play. If you want the last chance for today's deal, I told y'all because y'all made it all the way through the live show. Normally it's $5 for a raffle ticket for the autographed Nico Collins picture, but because y'all made it all the way through our Wednesday live show, I appreciate y'all. Y'all are the reason why I'm able to keep these shows going. I told y'all every dollar you spend on our Wednesday live show, we will go ahead and give you a raffle ticket for that. So if you want a chance to win that Nico Collins autograph picture, we're doing it on Sunday. Every dollar you spend on today's show get you a raffle ticket. Normally, they're $5, but if you want a chance for more tickets, Zach Rose got 10. Alberto Serrato got 20. Jimmy Wynn and P. Ray both got 5. Gunner got 5. Oh, also, some people getting some free tickets via Twitter. Let's see. I got some people getting in that way. We got, that's his name. Robert Daniels Jr. We got Don B. Says Nico Frico. I like it. And we got Marty, 713. All of y'all, I promise everybody, here we go. I promised everybody if you followed me on X and sent me Nico in my DMs, I'd give y'all a free ticket for the raffle. And that's what I'm doing right now. Don B and Marty _ 713. So all y'all got free raffle tickets for this Sunday. Shout out to y'all, man. Free tickets. Shout out to Alberto Serrato, too, because he's the one that got, or he sent in a 20 and he said, hey, give away some free tickets. So that's what we did. Oh, 3 likes away from 100. Let's go. If you still want, I'll still give the opportunity, even after the live show, if you want a chance at a free Nico Collins raffle ticket, you can do so by just following me on X and DMing me Nico so I know that you watch the show and you want to be a part of that deal. Even if you're already following me, you can just DM me Nico. I'll go ahead and give y'all a free ticket. All right. That's all we wrote for today's show. So, as I mentioned, last chance to get in on the Nico Collins autograph before this Sunday. Every dollar you spend is another raffle ticket, so good chance that you win if you get a lot of tickets right now. Sunday, it'll be $5 per ticket, so just wanted to give y'all a little advance for being real ones and watching our Wednesday live shows. Ron is trying to get people to get to that 100 like mark. We're at 98. I don't know if we'll get there. We are so close, yet we're so close, yet so far from that bad boy. Tyler Kintz said Nico. Let's go, Tyler. You got a free raffle ticket, my good friend. Tyler Kintz. Tyler Jones. Oh, 103. Let's go. Hey, Dutka's watching from Egypt. Kelvin Segovia says, I got you. Appreciate, guys. Appreciate. I put my link to my Twitter in there, so if y'all want a chance at a free ticket, you can do it. Just follow me on X and then DM me Nico. Or like Brandon Michael, you can say Nico Frico in my DMs. That's all I have for you on tap for you. Before we go, I ask you one question. One of our executive producers here, Jack, helped me out a ton on today's show. So, can we just end today's show by just spamming Jack? It was also his birthday yesterday. So, can we get some Jacks going in the comment section? Shout out to him. I wouldn't be able to do today's live show if we didn't have a producer stepped in, helped out a ton. So, can we get some Jacks down in the comment section? Shout out to him. Maybe give him some HBDs down in the comment section. From me, from producer Jack, that's all we wrote for today's Texans live show. We'll be live Wednesday, an hour before kickoff. Or Wednesday. Sunday, an hour before kickoff, a must-win game. So, be there, be square. Shout out to everybody who watched our entire live show. More content to come, so make sure to hit that subscribe button and join us every single day here on Texans Today.